But anyway, let's talk about some football, because your boy Frank Lampard got sacked and we reacted to that pretty much. But there's a lot of news linking Marcelo Bielsa, but not only Marcelo Bielsa, Sean Dyche with the job at Everton as well. First of all, are Everton rather
of the job
savable?
No, not in my opinion. I think that the club are I think they're a wonderful football club. Everton, Goodison Park is one of my favourite stadiums in the country, and I think it's a shame that they are being so mismanaged and misrun that I believe they'll go down. But I think that until there is drastic changes in the boardroom, I don't think there is a way that they get saved. Do you know, since Farhad Moshiri came in, Farhad Moshiri arrived in 2016. In that period, remember, David Moyes was there for a chunk before that, right? So he did a chunk. I think he did 12 years. Farhad Moshiri arrived in 2016. In that period, since 2016, not one manager has done 2 full seasons.
Yeah, it's
There's
shocking.
been 12. There have been 12 managers at that club. That club have had 12 managers since 2016, and not one has done more than, or has done 2 full seasons. It's a mess. Bill Kenwright, it's a mess. There is so much going on at that club that I don't think... I think you get Jose Mourinho in 2005 and they go down.
For me,
Carlo Ancelotti, and it wasn't going.
Rafael Benitez is look, I don't like Benitez for obvious reasons. I really dislike Rafael Benitez, but he's obviously a brilliant manager. He's won the league title in Spain. He's won the European Cup. He's obviously a good manager.
Playing devil's advocate, and again, I don't believe this because I believe the fans are in the right. They have spent a lot of money.
They spent £500 million.
Should Frank Lampard have been doing better with what he had?
No, because he didn't spend a lot of money. They've spent £500 million in 5 years.
He brought in some experience, and they, the side that lost 2-0 to West Ham, and that's why I think they'll stay in the league, because the side that lost to West Ham, we're talking an England international keeper, we're talking Tarkowski, who's been decent this season, Cody, Calvert-Lewin,
I think he hasn't been
Damari Gray. That's fair, but in my opinion, he's been both those 2 signings have been decent.
Calvert-Lewin hasn't shown it for any other coach other than
Mina
Carlo
on his
Ancelotti.
day. Mina, okay, it doesn't come off. Damari Gray's fantastic. Onana's fantastic. Can I just lay the point
Gray
out?
is fantastic.
At the bottom half of the table,
he's £1.5 million.
He's been their best player for the last 2 years. He's been their best player for the last 2 years. No, he was fantastic against City. He just scored an unbelievable goal
than
against
Yerry
City.
Mina. Hang on, he has a Buvey. You can't just say these things.
At least let me just lay out the point that I'm trying to make.
You've got to lay out the point factually. Like you've just said,
Damari
Gray is fantastic.
For Everton. In the context of for Everton, he's been fantastic for Everton.
$1.5 million. Yeah. How fantastic can you be when you arrive for $1.5 million?
I think it's good business, man. I think that's my opinion. He scored a fantastic goal against City recently. He's been their one shining light, and if Everton fans disagree, then fair enough. He has been, for Everton, he's been fantastic. My only point to you lads would be the 11 that started against West Ham is better than Southampton's, it's better than Leeds, and it's better than Bournemouth. That's all Everton need to stay up. And I think that's a factually fair thing to say. I think it's far better. It's got more experience than Southampton's young squad. Bournemouth have got a championship squad. They've got Kiefer Moore up front.
It's not better run than any of the clubs you mentioned.
It's not better run in terms of what's the transfer strategy in the next 18 months. Of course, you're right.
Which is all important, though, in terms of
we're
the way
talking about relegation right now.
Yeah, but in terms of the clubs that do well,
yeah.
If the club is being mismanaged at boardroom level, they're going to find it very difficult to accrue points. There is a direct link between the boardroom and the pitch.
You're right, to the point where we're talking about Bielsa being linked. Obviously, as of speaking now, we're talking about Sean Dyche, who's essentially in the role, where that for me is a fantastic appointment. And with the players that he's got at his disposal, Dwight McNeil, Tarkowski,
he fell out massively with Dwight McNeil.
You can
him and Dwight McNeil, from our understanding of what happened to them when they worked together before, can't work together.
We don't know that.
Well, we know it up until this point. If they can rectify their issues, but they had a massive falling out.
I think you're largely right about everything you've said. All I'm trying to say is that there's enough quality in the appointment of Dyche and the quality in that starting 11.
I just don't know.
I think Everton just about
stay up.
I'm not saying long term they're this incredible project like Brighton or even what Forest are doing.
No.
I think the worrying thing for me would be that if you haven't got the direction of the board. And you've got to remember, Burnley had some semblance. Sean Dyche was there for a long time. He was able to embed himself into the club and become, Burnley became his club. Everton isn't going to be his club. He's going to be a part of that machine that isn't even functioning properly at the moment. You've got a club that are preparing for a new stadium. They don't know if they're going to be in the Championship, in the Premier League. They've got one of their major stakeholders had to, pull out recently due, like when all the Roman Abramovich stuff was going on.
Yeah.
You had that going on in the background as well.
Usmanov got sanctioned in the States. He didn't get sanctioned here, but Usmanov, who was a huge backer, got sanctioned in the States, didn't he?
Yeah, so that'll be have implications there. I think there's a lot of problems going on at Everton at the minute that are far above and beyond a manager's position. Having said that, though, I do think Frank Lampard was underperforming with what he had. I know he got them for a period where they could have got relegated and, they couldn't spend in the transfer window and all those kind of things. But he brought in players that, Onana, Idrissa Gana Gueye, they aren't poor players. I would take them at Manchester United. You look at Tarkowski and Cody. Again, I wouldn't take them at United. But they're decent players. They're Premier League proven players. And I don't think that the team improved with the addition of those players. I don't think there was any... any sort of style of play blossoming. I don't think there was really anything going on at the club to suggest that Lampard was improving the situation that he was given.
If you look at the team that Lampard kept up last year, which was very impressive, he kept them up largely due to Richarlison's goals. They sold Richarlison, they didn't replace him. Frank Lampard this season, very recently, explicitly told us he wants Danny Ings. Whether you rate that decision or not, it's the manager's decision. The manager has said, I want Ings. They went, you got Danjuma. He went, I want, it's not about whether you rate Danjuma more than you rate him or whatever. He went, I want Ings. They went, well, you've got Danjuma. And Danjuma comes out and goes, I'm going to keep Everton up. Hold tight, Tottenham are on the phone. I've got other things going on now. But it's the running of the club. Do you see what I mean? It's not... Of
course.
It's about the manager saying, I want Ings and being provided with someone else. It's about the manager saying, tell you what, we did all right last year. We stayed up. Richarlison was good. Oh, yeah, he's gone, by the way.
The transfer decisions from Everton makes for a lot of interesting headlines for tweets, etc. It's shocking, the transfers. But that window, literally by definition, will be shut in the next 48 hours. So Everton can't mess it about any longer. They've got 3 or 4 months with Sean Dyche.
Do you feel like the squad is Dyche? Think about what Dyche
I think
is.
It's
not a Dyche squad.
The wall. They're backs against the wall with Cody, Tarkowski, Mina. I know they're not performing well. And your point about Demarai Gray is completely right. But he's a little bit of a spark that Dyche, if you're comparing him to Jesse Marsh, Gary O'Neill, and Nathan Jones, who was booed
there's no doubt. There's no doubt he's a better. There's no doubt he is the best manager. There is no doubt he's the best manager in the relegation.
Is this the right thing for his career then?
It's the biggest club he'll ever managed.
Biggest club he'll ever.
But then you're saying he's taking a job that is destined to fail in.
I think so, but you can't not take the job. Whether I think it's a poison chalice, Everton.
But Eddie Howe was in a position of that a few times where you went, he should have took that job, and he waited, he bided his time, and you've praised him for that.
Eddie Howe's fashionable.
If Everton knock on your door, I don't see how you turn them down. There are certain jobs that I think are destined to end in failure. Everton is one, Tottenham is another. I just think. Look, if Everton, remember as well, when you're a football manager making decisions, firstly, opportunity is huge. Secondly, it's your job, right? So people go, for example, when people would say Frank Lampard shouldn't have taken the Chelsea job; it was too early for him. Of course, he takes the Chelsea job. Of course, he takes the job. Like, whether you think you're ready for it or not, obviously you have belief in yourself and inner belief in what you can bring to the job. But you may never get that opportunity again. It would be very foolish to go, no, do you know what? I'm going to sit tight at Derby and I'm not going to take the Chelsea job. And you may never then get that opportunity.
On a smaller scale, there's a lot of comparisons between the running of Everton and the running of Man United. Not in terms of, in fact, actually, I don't know the financial ins and outs in terms of taking money out of the club. But if you look at the scattergun approach to appointing managers, the scattergun approach to signing players, it does remind me of what Ed Woodward was doing at Manchester United.
Yeah.
But amidst all of that, you have managers that can come in and steer things and grab things in the right direction.
But philosophically, if you look at what Everton have done, if you think, okay, what kind of manager, who's been there recently, what kind of manager is Marco Silva? Like, overall, he's a young, progressive, forward-thinking manager, as is Ronald Koeman. Like, think about the managers that have been at that club. They are forward-thinking managers. And then, in the same breath, fairly recently, wasn't Allardyce there?
Yeah.
Right? Yep. Wasn't... Briefly. Like... So you've had forward-thinking managers who will sign players in a forward-thinking approach, and then you've had more conservative managers in terms of the overarching strategy.
Like Frank Lampard.
No,
there was a poor job.
No, you are right. And what I mean is, though, if you're gonna go down one strand, there should be a consistent theme within the kind of manager that you're going to appoint. Like, when Ralph Rangnick was at Manchester United, people went, well, we should now, if Rangnick's going to be here, regardless of how it goes for him, Eric Ten Hag makes more sense than Pochettino because it's a theme.